In the twilight of her earthly journey, a poignant question lingers: did the mother of Jesus, Mary Most Holy, share in the inevitable fate of a bodily death akin to our own? Delving into the annals of antiquity, we find a narrative that transcends the ordinary, as Christian writers have woven a tapestry of belief around Mary's unique and profound conclusion. Their teachings, whispered through the corridors of time, tell a tale of the extraordinary, asserting that Mary, in the aftermath of her earthly demise, experienced a divine metamorphosis, a bodily glorification that unfolded in the sacred shadows of her departure. What occurred to the mother of Jesus in her later years? Did she experience a bodily death akin to ours? Throughout antiquity, Christian writers have maintained the belief that Mary Most Holy had a distinct conclusion to her life. In their teachings and in non-canonical writings, they asserted the bodily glorification of Mary, occurring shortly after her earthly demise. The life of Mary, the mother of Jesus, after the ascension of her Son into heaven is not extensively documented in the canonical scriptures. However, various traditions and apocryphal writings offer glimpses into the post-ascension period of Mary's life. One tradition suggests that Mary lived for some time in Jerusalem after Jesus' ascension, continuing to support and guide the early Christian community. She is often portrayed as a source of wisdom and comfort for the disciples, sharing her insights into Jesus' life and teachings. According to some accounts, Mary eventually relocated to Ephesus, a city in present-day Turkey. This tradition gained prominence in the Christian East, and today, there is a house in Ephesus believed by some to be the place where Mary spent her later years. It is known as the House of the Virgin Mary. In these later years, Mary is thought to have led a life of prayer, reflection, and service to the nascent Christian community. She may have faced challenges and persecution, given the opposition encountered by early Christians. Nonetheless, Mary's steadfast faith and unwavering commitment to her Son's teachings would have served as an inspiration to those around her. While the details of Mary's life after Jesus' ascension remain speculative and rooted in tradition, the enduring image is one of a woman dedicated to nurturing the message of love and redemption left by her Son. Her life, like that of the early Christians, was likely marked by faith, resilience, and a profound sense of purpose in the wake of Jesus' departure from earthly existence. One particularly vivid account describes the approaching conclusion of Mary's earthly life. As the end drew near, a powerful storm swept through the church. Mary, anticipating her imminent departure from this world, had prior knowledge. The apostles, having received advance warning, convened in Jerusalem. Upon their arrival, Mary had already passed away. They opened her tomb, but it was found empty. Christ had come to retrieve the soul of his Holy Mother, depicted in Byzantine art as a swaddled child. Subsequently, the gloriously resurrected body of the Holy Mother of God was fortified and ascended to join her soul in heaven. Elevation in both body and soul. These writings reinforced Christians' belief in the glorification of Mary, encompassing both her body and soul, shortly after her passing. From the 11th century onward, it became customary to assert the glorious Assumption of Mary. Theologians sought biblical foundations to underpin this belief, highlighting the angel Gabriel's declaration. The angel Gabriel refers to Mary as being full of grace. This designation is almost akin to the Virgin's proper name. The angel does not address her as Mary, LC 128. This implies that Mary was never subject to the dominion of sin. Consequently, she could not be held under the sway of death, which entered the world through sin, Rom 5:12. It is, therefore, logical to posit that she did not experience the decay of the grave, being glorified not only in her soul but also in her body. Notably, neither tradition nor theologians dismiss the hypothesis of Mary's death, on the contrary, they acknowledge it. If Christ, the Holy One of God, chose to undergo death, it follows that Mary, too, would have experienced it. The physical essence of the mother and the child is intertwined as one entity. Presently, Mary assumes the role of the mother of Jesus, who experienced glorification in both body and soul after his demise. Therefore, it logically follows that Mary would share the same magnificent destiny as her divine Son. Throughout the ages, the conviction in the bodily assumption of Mary has grown so widespread and cherished among Christians that numerous individuals are named Mary of Glory. Additionally, many churches and institutions have dedicated themselves to the veneration of the Assumption of Mary. In the initial decades of the 20th century, the Catholic faithful, under the guidance of their bishops, appealed to the Holy See to formalize the dogma of the Assumption of Mary. Responding to this request, Pope Pius XII commissioned a thorough study of the matter and ultimately chose to declare the dogma on November 1, 1950. The rationale behind this declaration, an uncontested truth of faith, was as follows: during a period when the human body faced vilification through genocide, concentration camps, and moral decline, affirming the bodily Assumption of Mary served as a poignant reminder of the dignity inherent in the human body. It emphasized its sacred role as a temple of the Holy Spirit and the potential for resurrection, ultimately partaking in the glory of heaven. It is noteworthy that Pius XII confined his definition to stating that the Immaculate Ever Virgin Mary, Mother of God, at the end of her earthly life, was assumed body and soul into heavenly glory. In the defining moments of the early 20th century, the fervent appeal of the Catholic faithful to the Holy See bore fruit as Pope Pius XII, guided by careful study and contemplation, officially proclaimed the dogma of the Assumption of Mary on November 1, 1950. This significant declaration held a profound purpose, standing as an unchallenged truth of faith amidst a world marred by the horrors of genocide, concentration camps, and moral decay. At a time when the human body faced degradation, the affirmation of Mary's bodily assumption emerged as a resounding testament to the inherent dignity of every human form. Pope Pius XII, with a keen awareness of the challenges and indignities that humanity endured, sought to underscore the sanctity of the human body, a sacred vessel destined to be a dwelling place for the Holy Spirit and a participant in the promised resurrection and heavenly glory. The specificity of Pius XII's definition, proclaiming that the Immaculate Virgin Mary, Mother of God, was assumed into heavenly glory both in body and soul at the culmination of her earthly journey, served as a beacon of hope and reverence. In embracing this dogma, the faithful found solace and inspiration, not only in the divine elevation of Mary but also in the profound